Good morning, everyone. His Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you warm greetings from Sierra Leone. It's a small country located in West Africa, a country that has survived civil war, that has survived the Ebola endemic, and has dealt with the COVID-19, and of course now dealing with the global food crisis. I want to start my opening remarks this morning by giving you an overview of the context of education in Sierra Leone, some of the progresses we have made despite the challenges, and including the impact of COVID-19 on our educational system. When our president, His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio, disclosed his intention to introduce the Free Quality Education Initiative in Sierra Leone almost 5 years ago, many doubted the possibility of his dreams. Even the global media expressed skepticism over his vision. Of over 4 years now, the Free Quality Education Initiative is not just a remarkable achievement, but also a global example of education transformation at a steady scale. For Sierra Leone to have achieved this within a relatively short time, it has taken belief in its initiative, strong determination, and unprecedented allocation of resources to the education sector. Since 2019, our government in Sierra Leone has allocated about 22% of its annual budget to the education sector. The government has eradicated all barriers that had inhibited access to education. Since 2018, our government has paid tuition and public exam fees, and provision of teaching and learning materials to all pupils in public schools. COVID-19, of course, caused disruption in the education of an entire generation of our children. The COVID-19 pandemic restrictions made millions of school children across the globe to stay home at the same time get home teaching. It was tedious and characterized by anxiety. Today, 2 years on, even after the outbreak, many schools are still struggling to return to normalcy, worsening learning losses as well as social isolation. Our schools provide both learning and serve as safety net for our children. Hence, being cut off from school, teachers, and friends can be difficult for any child. Children from deprived families, children who live in rural areas, and girls suffered worst during the pandemic. These children are more likely to be food insecure, disproportionately affected by digital divide, and are likely to experience the greatest learning loss. While the magnitude of COVID-19 crisis is unprecedented, Sierra Leone, having gone through the Ebola endemic, knew the setbacks and caused restrictions on economic activities and loss of educational opportunities on citizens, especially on the young generation. One good example was an emergency radio program which the Ministry of Education and the Teaching Service Commission allowed children to continuously use from home. The program provided daily programs from primary and secondary curriculum in core academic subjects, including maths, English language, life skills, and social studies, business management, and integrated science. This radio program started in 2020, and it is now widely used across the country, even during school times. All these mitigating measures were crucial in preventing learning losses in comparison to the Ebola period. Despite these measures, COVID-19 greatly impacted on educational outcomes. Schools were closed between March to September, though it was only for 6 months, which was remarkable. And through optional teaching methods were adopted. The radio teaching program, most children could either not access the program as a result of the unavailability of radio sets at home or the limitation of the radio frequency transmitting the teaching programs in their localities. School closures also created a convenient period, I put convenient in quotes, for schoolgirls to get pregnant. It is estimated that about 3,000 schoolgirls became pregnant during the COVID period in Sierra Leone. This, however, in comparison to the Ebola period, where we had 25,000 girls who became pregnant during school closure. The drop is attributed to the fact that the ministry mounted a robust zero pregnancy campaign across the country targeting school-going adolescent girls. There has been moves by the government of Sierra Leone through the Ministry of Education to come up with strategies for rapid learning recovery, overturning the ban on pregnant schoolgirls continuing in school and subsequently introduction of the radical inclusion policy has not only created an opportunity for pregnant girls to continue in school and eventually complete school, but it has also meant that the dropout rate attributed to pregnancy has been reduced considerably. The accelerated learning centers, which were established by the ministry, have also provided a space for girls who have dropped out of school as a result of different factors occasioned by COVID-19 to have remedial classes that prepare them for reintroduction or reintegration into formal school again. Over 6,000 girls have been reintegrated currently through this program in Sierra Leone. Education should provide an intentional platform for our young learners to discover, engage in discourse, as well as contribute to issues affecting them locally and globally. Children and young people have a role to play in addressing these issues: climate change, gender equality, peace, and human rights. These global issues are therefore for engagement is significant and their voice a must to be heard. Hence the establishment of our young groups across all districts. We have a very active youth group and there are representatives from districts making engagements with the Ministry of Education. Recently, we took a youth to the UNGA in New York, and at that UNGA, we had a youth telling every government representative to ensure that youths are having representations on panels to make decisions relating to young people. Climate change, gender equality, peace, and human rights can be integrated into curriculum and subject syllabus in schools as a cross-cutting issue. In our new education sector plan in Sierra Leone, the vision of our government's education program is to ensure that all learners in Sierra Leone will have equal opportunity to access quality, basic, technical, vocational, and higher education that enables them to participate in public life, contribute to the national and global economy, and fulfill their potential. The mission is to facilitate and support the cognitive, psychosocial, and physical development of all children and to ensure safe learning environments that are inclusive and well-resourced, as well as to promote access to equality in tertiary and vocational education through appropriate policies and legislations, as well as skills development for an advancement of education in Sierra Leone. Our ministry has already begun and has developed curriculum for basic and senior secondary education and has built them on creativity, comprehension, computational skills, constructive writing, and civic education. Education, however, has limitations. For its transformational benefits to materialize, a number of challenges must be addressed. Two of the biggest or largest challenges currently in Sierra Leone is the lack of teachers and ineffective pedagogies that are being employed. The progress in school enrollment, having had free education, has not been matched with the number of teachers. The global community is already far behind these ambitious targets and cannot even meet the current demand. The shortage results in school overcrowding, poor delivery of instructions, and poorer educational outcomes. The lack of trained and qualified teachers is diminishing the impact of education systems and limits their future growth and potential. This is crucial for developing countries like ours that is faced with limited education budgets to have effective pedagogies in schools to ensure students are receiving applicable knowledge and skills. Additionally, the distance from home to school, hunger, and poor nutrition are additional challenges. To strengthen national capacities to improve teacher policy formulation, implementation, and assessment of teachers is a requirement. We need to develop capacities of national teacher training institutions to develop quality training using blended strategies including the current technologies. We need to support the capacity development of head teachers and school principals for effective pedagogy leadership and quality learning outcomes. We need to support quality policies for teaching and learning environments. We need to support the development and harmonization of national and regional qualification frameworks for educational personnel. At our recent Transformation Summit, I want to just zoom in and talk about some of the key messages that emerged from the Transformation Summit. One was clearly the equality and inclusion quality and as relevant as much as it should. Often slow and unforeseen, this crisis is having a devastating impact on the future of children and youth worldwide. The Transformation Summit was a key initiative of the Common Agenda launched by the United Nations Secretary General. The Assembly was convened by the Secretary General as a view to evaluate education and to make it a top global political agenda and mobilize actions, ambitions, and make solidarity solutions to recover the pandemic-related learning losses and sow the seeds to transform education in a rapidly changing world. Our ministry in Sierra Leone has already formulated some of those policies and regulations that seek to enhance education transformation, and this includes the early child development policies, actively improving and expanding on the school feeding, and developed a policy, the radical inclusion, the school catchment area policy. These are all contributing invariably to improving the education system, making it responsive to the 21st century. And on that note, I want to end by congratulating all my colleagues who have contributed to making this event today, and also thank the Dublin government for hosting us, particularly me. I lived in the UK for years, and this is my first time coming down to Ireland. So I am pleased to be here. So together, it is a collective effort. We can make these challenges a progress and make history a success. Thank you once more.